Coming to the capital budgeting and the responsibility methods. In the previous session, we have discussed capital budgeting and risk and sensitivity, different methods. The methods are like this: sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, simulation, Monte Carlo simulation, decision tricks. Let us continue with the discussion. What is project analysis? As a financial manager, if a financial manager has different number of projects which need to be analyzed under risk and uncertainty perspective, and typically there will be different projects are recommended by different divisions. Hence, then the problem arises which project need to be rejected and which project need to be accepted. And there you need to learn under uncertainty perspective how to handle uncertainty. We have the methods like sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, simulation, Monte Carlo simulation, then decision tree. What is the sensitivity analysis? Among different variables, there will be some variables which are dependent, there will be some variables which are independent. If one variable changes, what happens to the project? That is called sensitivity analysis. What is the scenario analysis? If all the variables they are going to change, what happens to the scenario? Scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, scenario 4, like this. Then simulation. Simulation, Monte Carlo simulation is an artificial model. Based on this artificial model, the financial manager is going to analyze, evaluate the decision, whether it is wise for the financial manager to take up the project based on the artificial model outcome. If the project is going to give a positive outcome based on simulation artificial model, the project will be selected. If the project is going to give negative, then the project will be rejected. This is called simulation. Then we have steps in sensitivity analysis. Earlier, already I stressed, sensitivity analysis is one of the important method under capital budgeting and risk and uncertainty, where one of the variable is going to change and other variables will be this constant. There will be certain variables like dependent variable, there will be certain variables like independent variable. Here, first in sensitivity analysis, we have to analyze the process with the help of steps. First, we need to define cost, then we need to define the revenue, then define expected variables, estimate worst or best case variables, and we are going to calculate NPV, net present value, and the worst case and the best case. If the net present value on the worst case and best case is positive, how NPV is calculated? Net present value, total present values of cash inflows minus original investment. The formula to calculate net present value is total present values of cash inflows minus original investment. If the net present value is going to give positive, then the sensitivity analysis says that the project is wise from the rational perspective to take up. If the NPV is negative, then the project has to be rejected. This is called sensitivity analysis. This is called sensitivity analysis. Then what is this scenario analysis? See, before going to learn scenario analysis, we are going to evaluate based on one example. We are going to look based on one example Here, the initial investment is $1,50,000. Output is 10,000 units. Life is 10 years. Discount rate is 4%. Terminal value is $1 lakh. Then, what will be the expected NPV? $79,774.33. Based on the NPV, that is net present value, we can analyze the project based on the rational approach and the rational perspective that the project is yielding a positive NPV. Therefore, it is wise to accept the project. If the project is going to yield negative NPV, therefore, it is not best, it is not feasible or not good to accept the project. Here, we are going to accept the project based on positive NPV. In sensitivity analysis, we will take the cost. The cost is equal to fixed cost with unit cost into quantity. Then we are going to analyze the revenue, that is sales, price into quantity, number of units sold. Then notice of output, that is 10,000 units. Annual payoff, net revenue, $20,000, our original scenario. Yeah. See, and the sensitivity analysis, we will look the project in two perspectives. One is pessimistic perspective, the other one is optimistic perspective. What is this pessimistic? What is this optimistic? Pessimistic is negative approach. If you think the project variables will be negative, then what happens to the NPV? Then if it is optimistic, positive. In initial investment and the pessimistic, it is high. In optimistic, it is 140 low. Then sales price is very less. In pessimistic, optimistic, it's very standard price, like this. What does sensitivity analysis tell you? The sensitivity analysis tell you that we are going to analyze the project based on pessimistic, optimistic, and most likely, if the NPV is going to give positive, then we are going to accept the project. If NPV is going to negative, then we are going to reject the project based on pessimistic, optimistic, most likely. What is this pessimistic, negative? If the situation is very negative, if the sales will be very less, variable costs will go up like this. What is this most likely? In between. Then what is this optimistic? The sales will be very high, variable cost will be very less, fixed cost will be very less. Then what will be the NPV? That is called optimistic. Then what do you mean by scenario analysis? Scenario analysis is also one among the different methods of evaluating the project. And the scenario analysis, we are going to look at the project based on all the variables. If all the variables going to change, what happens? There will be scenario 1, there will be scenario 2, there will be scenario 3, scenario 4. If all the variables like variable cost, fixed cost, sales, everything is going to change, then what happens to the NPV? NPV will be positive or negative? If NPV is positive, that is total present values of cash inflows is more than the original investment, then we are going to accept the project. If the total present values of cash inflows is less than the original investment, we are going to reject the project. This is called scenario analysis. We are not going to consider break-even, that is out of syllabus. Then simulation. What is a simulation? Simulation, we have the steps like modeling the project, specifying the probabilities, then simulate the cash flows, and we are going to judge the project based on the what we call the NPV. If under simulation, if the NPV is positive, we are going to accept the project. If the NPV is negative, we are going to reject the project. This is called simulation. We call this as Monte Carlo simulation. Monte Carlo is the person who introduced this topic into capital budgeting. Therefore, they have named this topic as Monte Carlo simulation model. Then decision tree. Decision tree is a diagrammatic representation of various decisions over the time. And with the help of a diagram, the project is analyzed based on the different decisions that the financial manager is going to take, based on the different decisions and the outcomes. If the outcome is going to give positive profits, then the decision is accepted. If the outcome is going to give negative NPV, then the project is rejected. This is called decision tree. You can make out this decision tree with the help of a diagram, with the help of a slide which I have shown on the displayed on the screen. This is the decision tree. Here, you can make out the NPV is 0, therefore stop. If NPV is positive, proceed with the decision. If NPV is negative, don't proceed with the decision. This is called decision. What are the things that, let us summarize what are the things that we learned in capital budgeting, the methods under risk and uncertainty. We have learned sensitivity analysis, we have learned scenario analysis, we have learned Monte Carlo simulation, then we have learned decision tree. Sensitivity analysis is a model where one of the important factor is going to change, and the scenario analysis, all the factors going to change, that is variables, all the variables going to change. And the Monte Carlo simulation, we have an artificial model. With the help of a artificial model, we are going to evaluate the project, and the decision tree we are going to show with the help of a diagram. This is called decision. These are the methods and the capital budgeting and the risk and uncertainty.